Guts. Guts is one of the most tragic characters in fiction. He was born in the fewest possible way, pulled out from under his dead mother's hanging body. That's not exactly a warm welcome. Then as a kid's raised by mercenaries who don't exactly treat him well. His guardian Gambino abuses him. When Guts finally fights back and kills Gambino, he ends up being chased like a criminal. And Thizzle happens before he even turns 15. Later, he joins the band of the Hawk, a mercenary crew led by Griffith. For the first time, Guts finds friends and a cause, but Griffith's dream so huge it ruins everything. When his plan blows up, he sells out his entire team to become Adam, and Lord Guts watches his friends get ripped apart. He loses an eye and an arm trying to save them. And to top it off, he's forced to watch Griffith, now Adam, and assault Kaza, the woman he loves, talk about a family reunion gone wrong at her. That Guts gets branded with a mark that makes demons hunt him non-stop, so he builds a cannon for an arm grabber sword bigger than him, and decides that swinging giant swords beats therapy. He's got a small group of people who stick with him through hell, the Cedrus Epico Fani Shira, basically the not getting eaten by demons club. Guts keeps going, not because he thinks he'll win, but because stopping means the darkness wins, and honestly, if that's not the ultimate Estebons, I don't know what is. Isaac Clarke. Isaac Clarke isn't your typical hero. He's an engineer, not a soldier or some space wizard, just a guy who knows how to fix things. Then he gets sent to the mining ship Ishimura to check on a distress signal, and suddenly it's less fix the ship and more survive than it may. The crew's been slaughtered and turned into necromorphs, grotesque reanimate monsters made from the bodies of the dead, driven by an alien artifact called the Marker. These things don't just want to kill, they want to rip you apart limb by limb. But it's not just the monsters. The Marker signal messes with Isaac's mind, causing terrifying hallucinations and nightmares. He sees people who aren't there, realize his worst fears, and struggles to keep hold of his sanity while the ship falls apart around him. It's a mental war on top of a physical one. Isaac's also haunted by visions of his girlfriend, Nicole, who was part of the Ishimura crew. But the truth is far worse. Nicole is actually dead. The Marker's influence twists his memory, stripping him in a cycle of grief and denial that fuels his desperate hope to find her alive. Isaac isn't a soldier. He doesn't have super strength or fancy powers. What he has is grit, determination, and the desperate hope that if he keeps moving and keeps fighting, maybe he can make it out alive. If you think your job is stressful, just imagine fixing a spaceship while it's full of monsters trying to tear you apart. Hulk. The Hulk in Thanos Wins isn't your usual rage-fueled smash machine. This is a broken, defeated monster trapped in a world where Thanos already won. After Thanos wipes out nearly all life in the universe, Hulk retreats underground. Bruce Banner is mostly gone. Hulk has taken over completely, leaving behind only a fractured shadow of the man he's scared, haunted, and desperate to die. When Thanos conquers Earth, he doesn't just kill its heroes, he humiliates them. He captures Hulk and forces him to eat Captain America. Not metaphorically, Hulk literally eats him by the time we see him. And Thanos wins. Bruce Banner no longer controls the body Hulk is all that remains. Instead of mercy, Thanos gives Hulk a collar, turning him into a snarling enforcer who lives in a pit. And only comes out when summoned. Thanos often refers to him as a guard dog, and honestly that's exactly what he is. Know when your catchphrase used to be Hulk smash, and you end up as Thanos' radioactive house pet, it's safe to say I'll last the plot somewhere. Kratos from the God of War series started out as a Spartan warrior trained from childhood to be a ruthless killer. In a desperate bid to win a war, Kratos made a deal with Ares, the God of War himself. Ares gave him incredible power, but at a terrible cost. Under Ares' influence, Kratos was tricked into killing his own wife and daughter. That's when everything broke. From that moment, Kratos became a man driven by rage and got his signature weapons. The Blades of Chaos are chains forged in the underworld and gifted to Kratos by Ares, a symbol of his servitude, a permanent reminder of the blood on his hands. He wanted to destroy the gods themselves. Kratos tore through Olympus, battling gods and titans alike, leaving devastation in his path. But Kratos isn't just about rage. After destroying Olympus, he tries to leave his past behind, start fresh. He moves to Midgard and becomes a father to Atreus, trying to teach him to better than him. Spoiler: Father Hodor isn't come with a manual specially in year. A former god slayer who also destroyed an entire pantheon, and when you've literally punched gods of cliffs and survived Ragnarok, everyday problems like dad duties suddenly seem like they're a boss fight. Alucard from Helsing is one of fiction's darkest and most complex characters, a vampire who's both an unstoppable weapon and a tortured soul. But before he became the Helsing organization's ultimate monster, was Vlad Tepes the real-life inspiration. For Dracula, Vlad was a ruthless prince known for his brutal rule. After his death, he was resurrected as a vampire, transformed into a creature with near limitless power.
accursed with eternal life. This transformation didn't just grant him strength, it fractured
his mind filled with the souls of everyone he's ever killed. It's like carrying a haunted crowd in your head forever. For centuries, Alucard was Atara until Abraham Van Helsing finally defeated and bound him. Since then, he's been chained to serve the Helsing organization led by Integra Helsing, a stoic Ironwood leader who commands Alucard with a mix of fear, respect, and something almost like trust. Their relationship is complicated. Integra is the only one who can keep Alucard in check, and he respects her for it, but underneath his loyalty is a darker desire. Alucard wants to be defeated. He craves an opponent worthy enough to finally end his eternal suffering. Alucard's existence is so fractured that it even allows him to absorb beings like Schrödinger,
a creature who exists and doesn't exist simultaneously. Schrödinger was absorbed into Alucard, merging with this being when Schrödinger was erased. Alucard briefly lost himself to revealing just how fragile and delicate his existence really is. For 30 years, Alucard disappears completely, neither dead nor alive, just gone. When he returns, she's different. The monster that fed on death for centuries has let go of the thizans he once consumed. He's no longer a walking graveyard, just one man finally alone in his own head. Alucard is still a vampire, still immortal, but after everything, he's finally at peace with himself.
Jesse Pinkman. Jesse Pinkman is one of the most tragic figures in modern for a kid who wanted a way out but got sucked into a nightmare by his chemistry teacher. Starting as a small-time meth cook with little direction, Jesse teams up with Walter White,
a high school chemistry teacher turned ruthless meth kingpin. What begins as a shaky partnership quickly turns into a toxic, destructive relationship that drags us deeper into chaos. The turning point in their relationship came when Walt poisoned Brock,
the young son of Andre, Jesse's girlfriend. Walt did this to manipulate Jesse against Gus Fring, a ruthless drug lord who ran a massive meth operation and was Walt's main rival. After this, Jesse lost all trust in Walter, is kidnapped by a violent white supremacist
gang led by Jack Welker. They didn't just keep him captive, they chain him up, beat him, and force him to cook meth in a cage like an animal. Jesse even tried to escape, but the gang killed Dandria to make sure he wouldn't try anything like that again. He endures detesting
losses. He helplessly wakes up to his ex-girlfriend Jane overdose and die, an event that haunts him endlessly. He's forced into the murder of Gail, a close ally, which leaves a permanent scar on his conscience, but he does manage to get a happy ending. Kind of.
In the end, Walt shows up to save him from the gang. Walt kills most of the gang members during the rescue, allowing Jess to escape and start a new life in Alaska. Itachi Uchiha is one of the most tragic characters in anime. Born into the Uchiha clan, one of the strongest but most distrusted families in Konoha, Itachi was stuck between two worlds. On own side, his clan planning to overthrow the village. On the other, the village has war to protect. Not exactly a fun choice. His only friend was Shisui Uchiha, his best friend, and someone who actually believed they could stop the cup without violence. Shisui had a broken tearkatsu that could rewrite your brain like
it was patch notes, but before he could use it, Danzo stole one of his eyes because, of course, Danzo did, and forced Setsuri into a corner. So Shui gave his last eye to Itachi and then jumped off a cliff literally. That was the moment Itachi realized no one
else was coming to save them. If peace was going to happen, he'd have to become the Valancer. He did. He massacred his entire clan in one night, sparing only his little brother Sasuke, and not just sparing him trauma, forcing him into a future as an Itachi
told him to get strong, hate him, and kill him one day. The village leadership, fearing a civil war with Itachi, who was loyal to the village, to eliminate the Uchiha clan to prevent the rebellion and protect their village's stability. Itachi loved his brother Sasuke deeply by eliminating the clan himself, sparing Sasuke and painting himself as the villain. Itachi hoped to keep Sasuke safe and strong enough to survive, and eventually learn the truth, joined the Akatsuki, not because he liked their trip, but to keep an eye on their plans from the inside. When he was resurrected during the Fourth Great Ninja War, he used the opportunity to fix everything, telling Sasuke the truth, breaking free from the reanimation jutsu and putting an end to the cycle, of least that
ruined their lives. Because in the end, Itachi didn't want power, revenge, or recognition. He wanted peace, and he was willing to burn down his own life to give it to everyone else.
Ted is one of the most tragic characters in fictional history. He's from a bleak post-apocalyptic world created by a supercomputer turned godlike torturer who wiped out all of humanity, except for 5 people, Ted among them, kept them alive
as tools for endless suffering. Ted's personality complex doesn't even start to cover it. He's crippled by paranoia, convinced that the other survivors hate him, and that has twisted his mind that fear eats at him constantly, making him vulnerable to Psychological torture loves reminding it that it can do whatever it wants, stripping him of any dignity, and hope its weakness is his humanity itself. Hope that maybe there's a way out, a meaning behind all this pain, and exploit this hope by twisting reality and tormenting Ted with illusions, dragging him through endless cycles of despair. It kills the other survivors to spare them from eternal torture. It's the only act of agency in the whole story, and it costs him everything in the end. Transforms Ted into a helpless jelly-like creature, unable to speak, almost as punishment for trying to end the cycle of suffering. As Ted puts it, "I have no mouth, and I must scream."